Welcome to a holiday edition of What's Good Wednesday, where we like to talk about what's going well in the world to help balance out all the negativities, especially now during the holiday season. So happy holidays, everyone. And today with me, I have Andi Covington, who is the manager of our member experience team. Welcome, Andi.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So Andi is one of our very, very strong experienced managers who has been with the company for 18 years. And, she is somebody who has continuously been somebody who led her team to continuously improve everything for the members, but for the employees and for the organization. And what's amazing about her is that, she's gone through our changes in Signal. And for those who don't know, Signal used to be called the Washington Telephone Federal Credit Union for all the telephone workers before cell phones. For those of you that remember CMP and Bell Atlantic until they became AT&T and Sprint, that was the original crew that the credit union really catered to, right, Andi?
That's right.
So Andi, what obviously besides when they changed their name to Signal, obviously there was the wish to expand our membership to include the entire community, not just telephone workers. But there was another factor that came into play, wasn't there?
Yeah, there kind of was.
So the logo, for the Washington Telephone Federal Credit Union, for those you don't know, it unfortunately in the early 90s they realized that it read WTF Credit Union. So we recognize that was definitely an opportunity to maybe rebrand and change. Still the same company, still the same credit union, but also the main thing was to reach out to all the other people that were not telephone workers to let them know they can bank with us. But in addition to that, I think that you have been amazing with your team, not just in how you lead them, but also how you recognize them. She recognizes her team on a weekly basis on what they do. What's your average wake call time right now currently?
We typically, since COVID, it has gotten a little higher. Pre-COVID, it would be less than a minute. It's probably a couple minutes now as an average.
And that's pretty amazing because industry average, I'd say, is usually around 2 to 3 minutes, or 3 minutes or higher probably is for industry averages. But so that just, again, shows you how well you're leading your team. But I wanted to give you a chance to tell us a little bit about what's going good with you, both professionally and personally. Okay.
Well, it's been a very trying year and a half for my husband and I. Back in on April 2nd of 2019, we live in a high-rise condo, and there was a really, really bad fire 6 floors above us. Luckily, it was pretty much contained to that one unit. However, the fire part. However, with all the water that had to be used to put the fire out, 15 other units were basically totally damaged to the point where everything had to be torn out. So when I say torn out, I mean we had to put our condo back to just being studs. That was it.
So y'all got over that. You all get displaced during that time period?
Yes. So starting on April 2nd of last year, first we were at a hotel, and then we were placed in a very small apartment. And I mean very small apartment. I've seen hotel rooms bigger than this. But we were there, and we, were given short notice to take clothing and personal items. Everything was furnished otherwise for us, and we learned a lot of lessons about each other as a couple. But happily, October, just this past October, all of our stuff was brought back. I have a whole new condominium, and we're home, and very grateful and happy to be home.
Wow. And that's, I'm so happy that you're home, but 19 months.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It was a long, drawn out stretch. And then COVID on top of it didn't help either.
Oh my gosh. Well, God bless you and your husband for being able to do it. And obviously you're stronger for it because you made it through. So yay for that.
Yeah.
How about, as far as working remotely, you and your team all been working remotely. Tell me how that's been.
At first, it was all kinds of challenges, trying to figure out how to assist the members with ways that we would perhaps in the past mail something out to the member, or to, do something in a different way, or help them be prepared to go into the branch. Those things all came to an end. And we all quickly learned how to DocuSign just about any kind of document you need to the member securely, so that they don't have any fears of any information going across the internet. But that was the biggest thing, was learning how to do what we needed to do for the members, but doing it remotely.
Well, and it sounds like you've done an amazing job, but I think you sold yourself and your team a little bit short, because, talking to them, hearing the comments and the compliments that we get from our members, the care and the time that you and your team take to not just help them out with their problem financially, but the letters that we get about the thank yous for talking me down from a moment of anxiety, from helping me out from a moment where I've just been lonely and having someone to talk to, from the patience of them just having foggy brain and not being clear, and having someone patient and working with them because they've been a little bit confused. Those little moments make a difference, and your team really is amazing at helping our members be more financially sound during this time, but also emotionally, mentally sound as well. I think you all have made a bigger impact than most realize. And I think a lot of it goes to your leadership. And because of that, before I ask the last two questions I like to ask, I emailed your team last night real quick, and I just asked them, I said, hey, a few words, how would you describe Andi? And I want to read you what the responses were.
Oh, no.
I luckily did not have to omit anything, so it's so far good. So here are the words and the phrases that were used to describe to you by your team. Phenomenal. Her smile's amazing. Strong leader. She's real, honest, a mentor, a counselor, compassionate, stern, and with conviction all in one. She's trustworthy and understanding. She's dedicated, passionate, and caring. And these last two, Andi is one of the best managers I've had. She actually knows the ins and outs of the job, and that's a rarity for some managers. It's such a perk to go to your manager for assistance and get guided correctly. And then Andi is compassionate and understanding. She's an awesome person to work with. Throughout my work history, Andi is the best manager I've ever had. So
I'm blushing.
Well, Andi, you're every week you're constantly recognizing your team about how well they do and how much of a difference they make. And I just wanted to thank you for the difference that you've made for your team and for the company and our members, because you really have, and it's obvious just from the quick response I got from just those people. That really is amazing. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry if I threw you off with that. So but let's end the call with two quick questions. One,
okay.
What two things have you enjoyed most about working at Signal?
I think one of the best parts of my job is the people I work with. And I'm not just talking about my team, but my team is a very close-knit team. We care about each other. And I'm not talking about just work, I'm talking about their personal lives. We share and we support each other. But I also am just amazed at how receptive they are to change, how much they learn, and how much we encourage each other through some of these more difficult times. And then it's also working with other departments. We have a great rapport with so many departments because we need those departments to support us. Sometimes we get questions that we just can't possibly answer, but we know that we have people within the credit union that we can reach out to get the answers. And they're just as great too.
Well, I totally agree with you. I think your weekly calls, you have almost every single department in the credit union represented in your weekly calls, which no other department has that. So that's a rarity. And that's not because they have to. That's because they want to.
Mhm.
Because it's informative, it's helpful, and you make it fun. So, um, and the second question is, who in life inspires you or has motivated you the most?
I would have to say my 93-year-old mother has been a real inspiration to me over many years. Um, Interesting story. My mother graduated high school, went to college for 2 years, met my father, so she quit and she raised a family. There were three of us. I have an older brother and sister, quite a few years older than myself. But she always had that drive and that goal to get an education, to get that diploma from a college. So she went back to school she was almost 40. She went back to school. This was in the 60s. So, that was a little unusual for the time. Went back to school. She was trying to get an education major. Ended up, I was in the 6th grade at the time, and she was student teaching across the hall from me. And you can imagine how embarrassing that was to me. I just thought it was devastating that here was my mother across the hall, student teaching. But it was wonderful. She did a great job. She got her degree and started teaching in the same school system. And she just taught me by no goal is too far to reach. It may take some time, but if you really are driven for that goal, you can reach it.
That's, what a great, great role model. It sounds like she's an amazing woman, very inspirational. Now I think you probably look back and think it's funny that she was teaching across the hall.
Yes.
But kudos to our mothers. My mother was also a teacher. The problem was that when I got in trouble with my teacher, I didn't get sent to the principal. I got sent to my mother. So I got to talk to my mother, and then when I got home, I got punished by my mother. I go, wait, that's double dipping. She's like, no, that was your teacher. I'm your mother now. So, but our mothers are great, and it sounds like your mother is absolutely amazing. So, well, Andi, thank you again for everything you've done. I hope that you, your husband, and your family stay safe during the holidays. And thank you for being just who you are. Everyone out there, I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. Be safe, be smart. Let's not, put ourselves at risk right now during this time. We're very close to the vaccination, so let's keep everyone safe as much as we can. Even though it's hard during this holiday season, it's the right thing to do. So let's do our best. And thank you to Andi for those of you and your team who help out our members so they can stay home and do their banking electronically and also have someone to talk to, apparently, when they call our call center. So happy holidays, Feliz Navidad, and thank you again, Andi.
Thank you.